Here,
to fight back.
1.9 million years ago, is a tapestry of dust and decay. It smells of hot stone, dry grass, and the sweet, heavy perfume of a fresh death. A small clan of Homo habilis crests the ridge, their forms compact and tense, moving with a gait that is not quite tape. Not yet, man. Below, in the basin, lies the prize, the carcass of a D and other RUM, an ancient elephantine beast, shelled not by them, but by the crushing jaws of a larger predator that has since eaten its fill and moved on. Vultures already speckled the sky, a circling confirmation of the bounty. This is the rhythm of prehistoric life. Survival is not always the glorious hunt, but more often the patient, dangerous art of theft. The male moves first. He is the clan's anchor, his forearms corded with the strength of a creature that both climbs and walks upright. In his hand, he grips a stone the size of a fist, its edge fractured into a crude but effective blade. An old Owen chopper, the signature technology of his kind. His movements are a mix of bravado and immense caution. He scans the tall grass, his deep-set eyes missing nothing. A twitch of a tail, the low grunt of a hyena, the sudden flight of a bird. All are processed in a mind wired for immediate threat assessment. He reaches the carcass. His tool a blow of practiced motion. He does not carve, he smashes. He is here for the marrow, the dense, fatty fuel locked deep within the bone that powers their growing brains. It is a noisy, desperate business. The sound that changes everything is not the roar of a predator, but the sickeningly wet crack of bone. As he works to sever a massive femur, the blood-slicked ground gives way. His foot slides, his weight shifts unnaturally, and his entire body twists over the fulcrum of his trapped leg. The tibia snaps. The sound is swallowed by the vastness of the savannah, but for the clan, it is a thunderclap that silences the world. He collapses, a silent scream contorting his face as a pain unlike any other. Sharp, right, and absolute, blunt his senses. He is no longer the provider. In an instant, he has become the one thing the brutal logic of this world cannot abide. A burden. He is now just meat, waiting for a mouth. The others freeze. Fear, a cold and ancient instinct, ripples through them. The primal calculus is simple and unforgiving. A slow member is a dead member, and a dead clan is a meal for others. The eyes of his kind dart from his writhing form to the shadows that seem to be growing longer, more menacing. The scent of his pain, his weakness, is a dinner bell ringing across the plains. To stay is to invite the attention of every hungry thing for miles. The logic of millennia, the very engine of human evolution, demands they take what meat they have and leave him to his fate. It is not cruelty, it is mathematics. But his mate, a female with a watchful gaze and a young one clinging to her back, does not turn away. She looks at the male, at the father of her child, the one who has brought her food and guarded her sleep. She sees not a liability, but a life intertwined with her own. In her gaze, a new, revolutionary logic flickers to life. She moves toward him, her own chopper held ready not for butchery, but for defense. She emits a low guttural sound, not of fear, but of warning to the others. She will not believe. The clan hesitates, caught between the old math of pure survival and this new, impossibly costly arithmetic of compassion. The choice is made in silence, with a slow, deliberate step toward the fallen male. They will carry the burden, and in doing so, they have just declared war on the very nature of their world. The journey back to their rock shelter is a slow-motion nightmare. They move at the pace of the broken, a shuffling, limping caravan of vulnerability. Two of the younger males support the injured one, his dead weight a crushing tax on their energy. Every scrape of his shattered leg on the hard earth sends a fresh wave of agony through him under jolt of fear through the group. They are a bleeding wound moving across the savannah, and the scent of their weakness travels on the wing. It does not take long for that scent to be answered. The shadow first appears at dusk, a flicker of tawny muscle at the edge of their vision. It is a saber-tooth, one of the great predators of this epoch of Pleistocene megafauna. a hunter built for ambush and overwhelming power. But this one is not charging. It is watching. The cat is an artist of attrition. It understands that the clan is now anchored by its weakest link. It follows them, a silent, patient promise of violence. Its presence a constant, grinding pressure on their nerves. At night, huddled in the shallow overhang of their shelter, they hear it, a low, chest-rattling growl from the darkness beyond the fire's reach. They see the glint of its eyes, twin embers of predatory intent. It is testing them, measuring their fear, waiting for the one moment of inattention that will grant it a meal. This is a siege, and their enemy is a master of the waiting game. The burden of response falls upon the female, with the primary provider incapacitated. The roles have violently inverted. Her mind, already sharp with the demands of motherhood, now becomes the clan's primary weapon. She is not as strong as the males, but she sees the world differently. She reads the landscape not just for food, but for the stories it tells, a skill essential for the survival skills of all early humans. She understands the taphonomy of a kill site, the way scattered bones and drag marks can reveal the habits of a specific hunter. She knows a direct confrontation is suicide. Their only hope is to make themselves a harder, more frustrating target than they are worth. Her intelligence sparks. She begins her work at dawn, directing the others with sharp gestures and insistent calls. They drag heavy, thorny acacia branches, their hands and arms ripped and bleeding, to the mouth of the shelter. They weave them together, creating a crude but formidable wall of spikes. It is a simple concept, born of desperation, but it is a profound leap of strategic thinking. It is a physical manifestation of foresight, an attempt to impose their will upon a hostile world, while the others reinforce this new defense. She takes the greater risk, slipping out to forage. She cannot hunt big game, but she knows where to find lizard eggs, how to smash open tortoise shells, where to dig for the starchy bursts that will keep them from starvation. Every morsel she brings back is shared, first with the young, then with her crippled mate. This is the heart of her defiance, an act of altruism that spits in the face of evolutionary efficiency. She is feeding the present at a terrible cost to her own future, a defining moment in hominid history. That night, the cat returns. It circles the shelter, sniffing at their thorn-laced barricade. It paws at the branches, a frustrated snarl echoing in the small space. It cannot find an easy way in. The firelight keeps it at bay. The thorns deny it a quick assault. Trinell, the moon hums. Inside, the female watches, her body humming with exhaustion and terror. She has bought them another day, but the shadow remains, and the price of their compassion is paid in sleepless vigilance and gnawing hunger. Days bleed into a grueling rhythm of hunger and fear. The siege wears on, but inside the shelter, a strange transformation is taking place. The injured male, anchored to his bed of dry grass, is no longer just a patient. His world has shrunk to the view from the cave's mouth. But, in its stillness, his perception has sharpened. He cannot join the frantic scramble for survival. So he does the only thing he can. He watches. He watches the sun's arc and the shadows it draws, learning their secrets. He observes the tireless work of weaver birds, the patient stalking of a lizard. He sees the patterns that the others, driven by immediate need, are blind to. His enforced immobility becomes a crucible for a new kind of power, memory. He is becoming the clan's first historian, the living repository of their immediate prehistory. His hands, Dao, are not idle. He demands stones, good flint nodules brought to him by the female. He cannot put weight on his leg, but the strength in his arms and the knowledge in his mind remain. He begins to work, his chipping precise and economical. He is not just making the familiar Aldo and choppers. He is refining them. He teaches a younger male, guiding the boy's uncertain hands with his own, showing him how to strike the core at the perfect angle. This is cognitive scaffolding in its most primal form. The transfer of complex skill from one mind to another, not through instinct, But through deliberate instruction, he is forging not just ancient tools, but the very idea of a workshop, a place of learning. He is ensuring his knowledge will outlive him. The saber-tooth continues its psychological warfare, but the female, guided by the male's observations, now moves with greater purpose. He points out a new path to the stream, one shielded by a dense thicket of boulders. The cat is too large to navigate easily. He has watched the vultures and knows their circling patterns can signal more than just carrion. A tight, low circle can mean a predator has abandoned a fresh kill nearby. They are becoming a single, coordinated organism. Her legs and his eyes, her strength and his mind. The synergy is a revolutionary leap for these ancient humans, a force multiplier that transcends individual ability. The clan's survival now depends not just on the strength of the strongest, but on the wisdom of the weakest. This fierce, protective bond, this willingness to sacrifice for one another, is a stark illustration of kin selection, the engine that drives a family to endure, ensuring their shared legacy survives the brutal calculus of the wild. One evening, a violent thunderstorm breaks, the sky ripping open with rain and lightning. The saber-tooth, unnerved by the celestial chaos, retreats. In the brief respite, the female brings the male a tortoise, its shell already smashed open. He eats, and then, using a shard of bone, he begins to scratch lines into the cave wall, a chaotic series of marks that mean something only to him. He is not making art. He is making a record, a map of the territory, a mark for each day of the siege, a note for the future. The stone remembers. The clan, huddled together, watching the firelight dance on the crude etchings, is no longer just a collection of individuals bound by instinct. They are a community, bound by shared memory and a shared hope, forged in the crucible of a single, catastrophic injury. We pull back from the flickering firelight, leaving this small pocket of emergent humanity. The rains will eventually wash the marks from the stone, and the bones of these specific human ancestors will be scattered by time, perhaps one day to be found by the trowel of a future discipline called archaeology. But what they created in that cave will not be lost. It is a ghost that will haunt the future of their entire species, the choice to care for the broken one. An act that defied all logic became the new logic. It was the birth of the long-term investment, the understanding that an individual's worth is not limited to their physical utility. The elder, the injured, the storyteller, they became the clan's memory, the living library of survival, their greatest vulnerability. Compassion became their most potent evolutionary weapon, the very foundation of culture. Every hospital we build, every pension we pay, every time we sit to learn from a grandparent, we are acting out the distant echo of this single, pivotal decision. Our most sophisticated social structures are born from the simple, terrifying choice to not leave one of our own to the mercy of the circling shadows. We are the children of the burden carriers, and we must ask ourselves, in a world that so often prizes ruthless efficiency, do we still remember that our civilization was not built on the strength of the hunters, but on the courage to care for the fallen? We listen for the echoes in stone, for the whispers that became the human voice. But what happens when the one you save remembers the wrong things?